Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Got an announcement to make regarding this tractor. We're selling it. Actually, we're not. But what we are doing is we're taking it to Canada. So for all of our Canadian buddies up there, if you guys are going to the Ag in Motion Farm Show, that's July 21st through 23rd, we are going, we'll be at the Pillar booth with Reddy, and the tractor's gonna be there. So the 700 will be on site. So come meet us, we're gonna be there, tractor's gonna be there, come check it out, see all the imperfections, laugh at it, poke fun at it. It's tough, it can take it, except for it's a little bit self-conscious about the missing chain right now, which is right in not in here. You can notice the sprockets are gone too. There's a whole story to that, it's coming. We got things in the works. Things are in the works to get this thing fixed and ready, but it might not be drivable. It might have to get towed on a trailer. It'll be there so you can look at it. So anyways, I just want to let you guys know, Farm Show, July 21st through 23rd, booth 457, Pillar booth, and Leg Arms, my dad and myself, we're all gonna be there. So hope to see you there. We're ready for you Canadians. Be a good time. All right, back at it. I'm in Big Root spraying. This is our first chem follow operation. I'm spraying because I didn't fall spray. If you fall spray, typically you don't need the spring spray like I'm doing right now. You wait longer. Well, I've got weeds. So to all my neighbors out there who fall spray, you guys are smart. Good job. Your fields look amazing. So anyways, I'm spraying. And I want to show you guys something cool with the dash. This is the dash from Weed It with the Agritech America. It's the distributor in America, and they're the ones that help supply this and set me up with this monitor. Been loving this thing, just getting a feel of it. And one problem that the Weed It had, which was kind of it was really a really annoying problem, was when the Weed It is doing spot spray mode, and that's basically, oh, guys, here I'm turning around. I don't have my AccuTurn enabled at the moment because I don't have my field boundary set up 100% on this field yet. Anyways, when you saw an area that had a ton of weeds, because the spacing is 10-inch spacing and the nozzles are set to just open all the way up and spot spray, it would just dump a ton of product down. And say I'm supposed to do 5 gallons an acre, it'd go up to 10, 12 gallons an acre easy. And it just used a lot of product, way more, and that's the whole defeats the whole point of having, well, not defeats, but kind of offsets the whole point of having a spot spray sprayer is when you dump a bunch of product on it. You're trying to save chemical and put it on the plants that we need. There's a whole bunch that goes with it. It's just the overlap and how many nozzles turn on and the rate we're set to and everything. There's a reason why. Because what you want is this nozzle turn on and put a bunch of product on just that one plant, not a bunch of product across no plants. Well, if there's a little plant here and a plant here and a plant here, it might not need as much product for those 2 nozzles to hit those 3 plants, but because it's spaced like that, all the 3 nozzles turn on and it just dumps the product on. Okay, well anyways, long story short, the new dash, I totally forgot about it. I called Nick from Agritech and I was like, hey, I thought I remember you saying something that there was a way to cap that. He said, oh yeah, there is. So I turned it on and sure enough, it's pretty awesome. But now, when I get under a lot of weed pressure, now it keeps me at 5 gallons an acre. So if I'm spraying 5 gallons an acre product, it won't let go above 5 gallons an acre. It's pretty neat how it does. It just changed the PWM of the center nozzle. So 3 nozzles got to turn on the center one. It regulates that one down. Anyway, long story short, it's pretty cool. So yes, I'm back to saving product. The reason this looks like I sprayed everything because I just turned this on. I did a broadcast in this area. Here's a good example. So this was the outside passenger on the entire field, and I did broadcast. As you can see, it did 5 gallons an acre. It was the maximum it put on for that swath. So it put 5 gallons an acre across the whole 120 feet. I am overlapping a little bit here. It's just how my GPS worked out. But over here, if you think about it now, it's taking 5 gallons an acre, but it's putting it across here. So instead of just spraying a bunch of dead space, that 5 gallons an acre is now split between all those weeds it sees right here. So it's putting that product on them and not bare ground. Crazy, you don't see it, but it's on there. Alright, we're approaching a washout up here. See all that green? Leg Arms graded this last fall, so we're able to drive through, which is nice. So as I go through here, if you watch, you'll see a little bit of a bump. There we go. So as that green is there, you're going to see it displayed on here. That's sweet. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Look at that. So as I keep going back and forth again, you'll see exactly that washout and how it looks on there. These are like green patches in the tire tracks. Let's zoom in here. There they are. Tell you what, guys, it is so. It is so dry here. So dry. It's just Dad said he's never seen it like this ever. That grass there by this reservoir. This should all just be lush green this time of the year. This time of the year is just gorgeous. Usually there's just green grass growing everywhere. And it's not just our farm, it's a good chunk of Montana. It's not good. A good chunk of the western states, southern Alberta. It's bad, really bad. Like, to put in perspective, the biggest rain we've had in 10 months is 2/10 on the farm. 2/10. In 10 months, 2/10. We had maybe 3 inches of snow in one snowstorm, mass accumulation. It's bad. It's really bad. Thankfully, this reservoir still has some water for the animals, but I rebuilt this a couple years ago so it was dry. I think we're going to see it dry again because there was no snow runoff. That's usually what fills the reservoirs up and keeps them alive for full through the hot summer months. But and then Super El Nino, we predicted dry, hot. So it's not looking good. I don't know what the answer is, but all I can say, guys, is harvest is questionable at this point. We'll talk about it more in future videos as we get to that, but I'll show you guys more areas. But yeah, it's what a year. Night crew. Been going at it all day, actually. Isn't that cool looking? The blue, I got the blue light for the spray pattern, so I can see what's spraying and what's not. And then of course that red light that looks like fire, which is just a straw being illuminated. That's what the weeded system uses to detect the chlorophyll in the plants. So it shines that red light at the plant, or if there is a plant, I should say, and it's actively got chlorophyll in, it's not fully dried up, it'll come back to the sensor as black, and it knows to activate the spray. So that's how it works. But it does look pretty cool at night. That's sweet. A lot of activity in this field, though. This is some CRP ground that we had taken out a couple years ago, and it always takes a few years to get it, all those seeds out of it from all the years of CRP growing in it. That wasn't crop, so it's back to cropland.
Oh man, it is beautiful out. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Calm. Wind is not blowing. I could fix that hydraulic leak on that tractor, or not the tractor, but the toolbar, and then we could wing it up and move it. I don't really want to. And I did clean the shop somewhat. Don't worry, Nick needed a break, so I said, it's okay, I'll clean the shop. You don't have to clean the shop today. So it's a little cleaner in here. Yeah, a lot cleaner. So the question is, what should I do? Well, this is something in the back of my mind that I've been wanting to take care of for a while. And I just figured, you know what? I'm just gonna go start on it now. Let's start another project. You guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. So a friend of mine had 3 of these. This is an outside wing. As you can tell, this is where one of the pivot point, and they kept the center point, and then they gave another one to somebody else, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But they gave this to me, which I'm very grateful. And there's times that you need to roll the roads after you build them with a grader, or roll down something small, and this is very handy. But the problem with this is there is no bearings. So you just got to put a bunch of grease in there, and it's metal on metal, and it just, well, it'll wear out. So what I'm going to do is we have a couple of these extra bigger 3-inch diameter bearings that came off of the Mandaco land roller, and I can't use them on anything else because the casting of these things were not very good. It wasn't the quality of Mandaco, it was just there's a few castings that got out there that were breaking, and they're like, hey, you guys should probably change yours because yours might be the bad ones. So we changed them, and we just said, what do you want us to do with the old ones? And they said, keep them. All right, so I got a bunch of these on hand. I figured, why not take those and put them on there? And if I break a casting, well, I got another one. I'll throw that on. But this is a small roller, so it shouldn't really break it. So basically, to make these work, this is a 3-inch diameter. I'm going to take a 3-inch pin, and this is actually one of the pins that came off the Big Bud because it was wore down and we replaced it. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to cut it down, put those on here, lift up the pipe, cut off that tongue, put this tongue that came off of our sprayer. This is actually that New Holland sprayer that we put on the Big Brute. I'm going to take that tongue and stick it on here because it's a better clevis deal and make a nice little roller. So that's the plan. Let's start cutting because I need to find out what is underneath those. All right, I think I got where I need it to be. I raised it up, put on some blocks, and how I'm figuring this out is I'm using a straight edge. Well, this is an angle iron, but for the angle iron there, I got 2 inches here, and then if I go on this side, I got 2 inches here. Now you're probably wondering, why am I raising it up so high? Well, I thought about it, and I said, thinking to myself, if I have to add weight to this thing, if I need it for some reason, throw a big old concrete block on it, I could build a frame on top of that and put weight on it. And then this tongue here will then weld onto that at an angle down, which actually works to our advantage because this tongue on that sprayer was at an angle to begin with. So it actually will match it in a way, just not the color. Now, what I'm gonna do is I got some big channel here, as you can tell. Nice old big piece. I'm gonna cut out a chunk that'll go from here down past the center just a little bit, and then I will notch it out, pop a couple holes in it, and that's where my bearing's gonna go. And then what I gotta do is I got to convert those bearings, which are 3-inch, to that hole, and so I'll probably end up using, it's greasy beyond greasy, but if I don't have the right size tube, I'll probably end up use the axle shaft that they had. I'm gonna call it an axle shaft that went through the whole entire thing. Cut off a chunk of that, put it on the lathe, cut it down for a sleeve for the 3-inch to go inside of it, weld those two together, put it inside that tube, and then weld it together, and then I got a stub shaft of a 3-inch, and I think I should be good. And the nice thing is, I don't have to worry about it being like true, because they have a pipe running through the whole entire thing, and as long as I get it tight on both sides, I can have a little stub shaft here, and it'll be fine, and it'll carry the load. So that's the idea. So now let's start marking this off and then figuring out what I want to do for height. Cut that and go from there. And let's use some soapstone. Perfect. Now I decided to go a little different route. This is the original tube that was inside that would just, the drum would roll on it, a bunch of grease on it. I decided to wash it off. I'm gonna take that, shove it back in, and then, because the reason for is this pipe, the outside diameter is like almost 3.5 inches. And I gotta go down to a 3-inch. Well, the inside diameter is 3 inches. So if I slide it all the way in, put my stub shafts, put them in there, weld it all up, then I got a true axle. I guess that's the idea. So it's basically a big shim. So I'm gonna take it, slide it in. A little too far, but that should work out okay, I hope. Ooh. Got some cleaning to do. Got some grease on there. I should have not kicked that part. All right, clean that up, weld it a little bit, and then get some stub shafts and put it in there. Now I'm not going to do a solid bead all the way around because I don't want it to swell the pipe or stretch the pipe or change the diameter of the pipe. Because then I'll have a hard time trying to get my 3-inch round stock in it. I'll have to make sure that this one here, the bearings will slide over it, and then I'll have to figure out how much I need to put on it. So what I'm doing is I'm just barely taking off a tiny fine layer of any high spots because I could feel that it was, well, there's grooves on it obviously. And that's okay if it's a little less because the bearing has a locking collar like this, here's a scrap piece of steel that's got a bunch of weird grooves and stuff on it that most people would throw out, but I kept it because you never know if I need it for something. Well, here's the time that I needed it. Perfect. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Let's go put this thing in. Now, I have enough room to get behind there and tack weld it so the shaft won't move, and then I can take it all apart and weld it all up. I believe this is what I'm going to do. Reason why I'm having this angle iron channel flip the way it is it might help protect the bearing in case you happen to hit something, a rock or post or a car. You might as well just be a little bit more careful. But that means I got a big gap up here, so what I'm thinking about doing is cutting out a piece of steel that goes inside here. I'll weld it all up and then do the same thing on the bottom, and it should be pretty tight and solid, and it shouldn't go anywhere. And then I gotta do the same thing on the other side. But yeah, all right. So far it's not looking too bad. I think it's good. All right, I think I'm about done with this thing. Probably a couple things I'll do in the future, but I put a gusset right here. I think that's what they call it, gusset. It's to help stabilize and keep it strong. And then also one back here, welded the living snot out of that. And you guys are probably thinking, what's that thing for? Well, it's not a very heavy roller, so I'm gonna add roughly 1,800 pounds onto it. So I just kind of roughly put a cradle together to set that on there, and it is starting to spit some rain. Huh, it's been a long time since I've heard thunder. A little bit of thunder out there, that's cool. It's not supposed to last very long, it's just a tiny little front coming through, but I sure hope it just dumps on us. Oh, I love that smell. You can always smell the rain. Love it. All right, I'm gonna take the block, put it on there, pull that out, and I guess I'm gonna be done with it. Ta-da! Pretty much free. Well, actually, roller was free. All the pieces that I used were scrap pieces besides those pieces and that piece, and then the bearings were extra bearings, so for the most part, really cheap roller. And that's how I like to do it. Saving money while we can. Making more projects and more work than I need to, but that's okay. Crude, but it'll work. All right, I think I'm gonna call it and go home, hang out with the family, and yeah, I'm done in here.
Morning, back at it. Shut down about 11:30 last night. Went around a chemical. I figured it's a good time to shut down. Got going about, well, got the field about 7. So it takes about 30, 40 minutes to get everything fired back up again. I'll just fill it back up, but I'm gonna knock out a lot of acres today. I think I got a little over 2,000 acres left to go. Today it's supposed to pick up nasty wind this afternoon, and then tomorrow is gonna be like a hurricane. Our dreaded 70, 80 mile an hour gusts, sustained 40, 50 mile an hour. Not good. There's a lot of dry ground out here. A lot of dry ground. This is last year's stuff. We haven't even touched it other than just driven on it a couple times. But, I mean, all those tire tracks are gonna blow. This is something else. Fortunately, we got some crop growing, and this is our very first seeded field for that tiller drill. So that might help hold a little bit of it down. Hopefully. So we'll see how it goes. But there is a little slight chance of moisture tonight. I saw somewhere maybe 2/10. Extremely skeptical on that. But if we got a little bit, that would help get dust down and maybe help germinate some stuff that hasn't germinated yet. I hope so. We'll see. Show you how bad the winds have been. The house is right there. That's over a mile away. This blanket is my kids. It blew that far. Just found in the field, just sitting there on the ground. Also seen about five-gallon buckets randomly scattered throughout the fields. No idea where they came from. One of them looked like ours. But somewhere, bubbling down the field. It's crazy. Alright, shutting down. Wind is picking up. Weather's moving in. Dust is blowing. No more sprays going down. But I do see the weeds dying over here where I sprayed a couple. Oh, nice guy. How'd you get in here?
I went to shop.
Oh, okay. See all the dust blowing across the road here? This is just from our yard. I hope the fields hold down. It's going to be interesting to see how it works. I don't know. It's been, it's not been a good spring. So we'll see what this does. But there's going to be a lot of dust blowing. A lot of dust blowing. Made it back to spraying after that nasty windstorm we had. I just want to show you guys something. It's kind of sad. It's not nearly as bad as a lot of I've seen in eastern Montana and western North Dakota, but look at this. That should not be a thing. And this ground wasn't worked. It's just been that dry. We can't grow crops on it. Any area that's been driven on just blows. And the wind just took all this, which was topsoil, from that field over there and just blew it across all this. This is just one little spot here. It's scattered across the whole farm and the whole county and a good chunk of the state. There's guys, I've seen pictures, and county roads are buried under sand. It's just widespread, you know, and you could place blame on individual farms, say, well, you didn't work your ground right. Well, you didn't plant enough hedgerows and tree lines. I've seen a lot of comments of that recently. You guys cut all your trees down, you ruined that land, you should be punished. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, I can't even get trees to grow here, guys. We didn't cut any trees down. And no, we have never removed a tree row or a caragana line on our farm. Never had them. They don't grow here very well. This is just the nature of the beast. There's all the hard ground, the hard pan from the topsoil that blew off. Anyways, it's just, you just can't water hold stuff down. That's why, like, the desert, the Sahara and stuff is so sandy. There's no water to keep stuff together. The topsoil's gone. It's just sand. And it's just been so many consecutive years of dry conditions. Yes, if this ground was never farmed, it was just grass, it would probably hold better. But you know what? We gotta eat. So there's gotta be farms to make food. This is just not something you can predict. And it's been here before. The Dust Bowl, those conditions were actually probably even better then than they were now. I think actually they've determined that we had more rain back then than we did now. It's just farming practices are better now, so the land didn't blow like it did back then, and the land wasn't destroyed like it was back then. But we're starting to see little glimpses of that unfortunate disaster happening now. And we're going to do our best to keep farming as not conservative, but just smart, I guess you could say, aware, and try not to disturb the soil and try to get some cover to grow. We just need some rain.